God knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with. That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead, make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. You know, today is the 40th anniversary of Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade. Today, abortion. 40 years ago, they passed a law that allowed abortion to become okay. And since that time, the abortion rate has gone through the roof. And for black babies, it's even worse because, as I've said over and over again here on the show, 70% of Planned Parenthood abortion mills are located in the urban areas around the country, the inner cities. And as a result of that, everybody and their mama are having abortions. And we pay for it, even if we don't agree with it. Through our tax dollars, we pay for it. On an average, 1,876 black babies are aborted every day in the United States of America. Just think about that. On an average, 1,876 black babies are aborted every day in the United States of America. That's from blackgenocides.org. Blackgenocides.org. 78% of 850 abortion clinics operated across this country by Planned Parenthood are located inside or within close proximity to minority communities. And you know why they're able to do that, folks, is because a whole lot of these young black and older black girls are getting married, are having babies but not married. And Planned Parenthood used that against them to kill their children within the womb. I have with me Dr. Johnny Hunter, good friend, known him for years. He and his organization has been on the front line of this abortion issue for a long, long time. He is the National Director of Life, Education, and Resource Network, Learn, Inc., and they have been out there fighting, trying to not only educate all of Americans, but especially black Americans, about this abortion issue, because a lot of black Americans are not aware of how serious it is. And so I want to bring in Dr. Johnny Hunter. Dr. Hunter, welcome to the show, sir.
Praise the Lord, Brother Jesse. It's a joy to be on the program with you today.
Thank you.
And I tell you, I appreciate the way you started this thing off, because people need to understand our people are being wiped out. We have dropped below replacement level. And we are no longer the largest minority in this nation. The Hispanics are. And we are now being totally ignored in many fronts.
Yep.
And, you don't lose that many children per day and still keep going. We are feeling the effects of it and the dynamics of it. And the black community is on the way out. And one of the most interesting stats you gave was where the majority of these abortion clinics are. The majority of these abortion clinics are in the minority neighborhoods.
Yep.
Now, if you think about that, that's weird. If they were concerned about population control, why are they in the minority neighborhood? Wouldn't you be in the majority population? If you were really concerned about the decrease in population, why are you working in the minority neighborhood where they got the less population already?
That's a very good point. Very good point. And, as I said in the introduction, they are able to do it because black Americans, a lot of them don't realize that this abortion is as bad as it is within their community because Planned Parenthood is not telling them the truth about it. And because the fathers are not there with the mothers, they are able to go in and just convince these ladies to kill their children.
Hey, man, it's one of the saddest things you've ever seen. And you're 100% right. I remember years ago, the black community welcomed Planned Parenthood, but everybody didn't welcome it in. Yeah. There were some people that were the Black Panthers and other organizations. They knew this was a bad organization from get-go, and they did their best to try to warn the black community to stay away from these folks. They are no good. Here you have an organization that was founded by devout racists, founded by someone who couldn't stand black folks, founded by someone who was determined they were going to decrease and eliminate the population of blacks, founded by someone with that kind of a racist thing. And I tell you what, they don't need the KKK no more. The Ku Klux Klan is not needed.
That's right.
You know, Ku Klux Klan, at least they used to wear white robes and use a rope. These folks, I call it wound lynching. Planned Parenthood comes to try to step in and pretend like they're your friends. They may not be wearing no white hoods and all that stuff, but I'm being honest with you. They have killed more blacks than the KKK ever lynched.
I know.
And they can do that in 3 days. They don't less than 3 days. They kill more blacks in 3 days than the KKK lynched in over 80-some years of lynching.
That's amazing. And you were referring to Margaret Sanger. She is she was the founder of Planned Parenthood. And by the way, as you know, Doctor, Margaret Sanger was real popular with the KKK. She was one of their primary speakers.
Oh, yes. You know what, Brother Des, what is really interesting, Father of Civilization, that Margaret Sanger actually wrote a biography. And we started, many years ago, we started letting people know about that thing because a lot of that stuff was in there.
Yeah.
And once we started saying that thing got missing from libraries, you couldn't find it in the library no more, somebody would check it out and never bring it back. And then we did find out when they started republishing, they took a whole lot of stuff out of it. You know, so you have to go back and get one of those originals.
Absolutely. It's amazing how they're able to cover up that kind of information once it starts to get out.
Amen. But I tell you what, if for those who haven't seen that movie, Marfa 21, Black Genocide in 21st Century America, we uncover it.
Oh, yeah.
Life Dynamics did a powerful job. They went back and there's stuff you'll see that you already know, but there's some stuff in there people did not know was going down. Tell
the people about this upcoming events that you're having here in Los Angeles on January 31st. You guys are going to be here in Los Angeles. And tell them about the movie and also about the protest that you're going to hold at the NAACP convention.
Yes, well, I tell you what we're up to. Black people and every people, I'm be black and white and everybody, if you got any kind of sense of justice about you, you really need to see the movie screening of Marfa 21, Black Genocide in 21st Century America. If you have an ounce of concern about justice, this is the film to see. And on Thursday night at 8 o'clock, they're going to be showing it on their USC campus. They're going to be showing in a place called Taper Hall. USC Taper Hall, THH 30.
We'll put that information on our website, too, bondaction.org and Bond Info. We'll make sure we put it up there. And, and do a link to your site as well. Hold for me, Doctor. Let me take a quick break. We'll come back and I'll let you lay out that information a little bit more there. 888-7753-773. Quick break. Back in a moment.
Girl, I've been thinking about us, and you know I ain't good at this stuff, but these feelings piling up won't give me no rest. This might come out a little crazy, a little sideways. Ask Miss Bell for some of her sweet tea. Then a left will take you to the interstate, but ain't right. We'll bring you right back here to me.
According to its latest annual report, the Planned Parenthood Federation of America received $487.4 million over a 12-month period and performed, listen to this, 329,450 355 abortion in 2012 alone. Planned Parenthood does 300,000 abortions per year on an average. That's from CNS News. Today is the 40th anniversary of Roe versus Wade. And so the fight is still on, folks. And so far, Planned Parenthood is winning. I'm sad to report that to you. They are. But that doesn't mean you have to stay that way. If you can educate yourselves and get involved. There will be a screening of a pro-life film called Mafia 21 at USC on Thursday, January 31. Mafia. That's the end of this month. And Dr. Johnny Hunter is with me. He is the National Director of Life Education and Resource Network. Learn. They're going to be here in Los Angeles. You're going to be here to watch this movie too, right, Doctor?
Oh, I'm going to be in town. I'm going to be in town next week. I will be in Los Angeles next week.
Okay.
And I tell you, I'm going to be there because there's a lot of things going down. We really need the black community. That word ma'afa means something horrible. It used to refer to the Middle Past when blacks was beaten, when they were killed, coming over, taken off, ripped off, just on a slave ship, even when they were lynched. But now that horrible thing is like black genocide. It still continues to this day.
Yeah.
And this documentary is going to show it out. It's a full documentary now. We're talking about 2 hours long. This thing it's intense. But it's a wake up call, and the young blacks around here in North Carolina, they've been eating it up.
Oh, great!
But I tell you what's been happening. We over here on the East Coast, and we see things that are going down. Let me tell you some of the stuff that's been happening. The worst part of it is not only Planned Parenthood, but the worst thing we got is the NAACP is in bed with Planned Parenthood.
Who is that?
The NAACP.
Oh yes, you're absolutely right.
We've been betrayed and sold out by the NAACP because of that bad relationship they got going with them.
Yeah.
Knowing that abortion industry is bloodthirsty, they're money hungry, the NAACP is a guilty partner in the eugenic plot to control the black population of the United States.
So are they doing this because they get money from Planned Parenthood, or is there something else going on?
Oh, yeah. Well, the worst part of it is there's people that's in the NAACP executive that actually work for some of these pharmaceutical companies out there even hurting the black community. You know, in other words, if you watch out what's happening, Jesse, I know I don't have too much time, so I kind of put it in a nutshell. Everything the NAACP doing is now not inclusive. They do not represent engaged black Christians. They don't even deserve any kind of Christian.
Right.
You got an organization out here that is the homosexual. They all follow them. They're pushing it. They're doing all kinds of things and yet, right in Chicago, Illinois, there's a young girl that was 20 years old named Tanya Reeves. In Chicago, Illinois, went to a Planned Parenthood facility. The abortionist in Planned Parenthood ripped a hole in that girl's uterus, and she started bleeding. She was bleeding out. They let her lie down there and bleed for 5 hours before they called the ambulance.
Amazing.
And by the time the ambulance got in and took her to one of the best medical centers in the country, they could even save that girl. Planned Parenthood murdered that girl. That was just worse than negligence. Let that girl bleed like that, ripped a hole in her uterus and let her bleed for 5 hours before they called the ambulance. But let me tell you the worst scandal, NAACP didn't say a word.
Yeah.
The leaders, they decided to look the other way at the killing of Tanya Reeves. I'm not telling you, they can talk off everybody else, and yet right there in Chicago, Illinois, where, quote, got the prayers from and all that, they were just as solid as they could be.
Well, it's even worse than that, in that Barack Obama is supporting Planned Parenthood as well.
Oh, and spoken out for it, and this is the reason got money. People don't know what that health care thing is all about. It's all about making sure Planned Parenthood and other abortionists get as much money as they can to wipe black folks out. Now, I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
This whole thing is that when you start hearing about reproductive health care, that's a word. That's a code word for womb lynching. That's what it is.
You're right. I agree.
I tell you, if they took abortion out of the health care thing, they'll drop the whole issue like 1, 2, 3.
It's amazing.
They will drop it automatically.
You know what's sad about it, too? Many things are sad about this situation, is that the folks in the community, black Americans within these urban areas, don't really have an idea of how bad this abortion is. And as a result of not knowing, they are voting for people and supporting people who are against them, like the NAACP. And even in this last election, you had 95% of black Americans voted for Obama, and they are thinking that Obama is there for them, going to help them, not knowing that Obama support abortion at any point, even if a baby should come out alive during a botched abortion, he want the baby to be able to die on the medical table, not even take care of it. And so because black Americans are not educated about these things, they keep voting in the folks who are against them.
Yes, people are doing something that they really shouldn't do. They're going by skin color.
Yes.
I try to warn blacks that there's a reason we have drugs in the black neighborhoods, because somebody found some black folks who was dumb enough to sell us out and stand on street corners and sell to our black folks.
Yep, I agree.
I'm being honest with you. If a white man was out there selling drugs to our black community, we'd be all up in uprage. Don't let a white cop come through and pull somebody over. Oh, man, everybody get all bent out of shape, you know. But yet you put a black guy in there who's selling definitely drugs to our young people, and then we kind of almost look the other way.
Yeah.
Everybody know it's going down, but won't nobody do the big enough stuff to go about it. That's why even here in North Carolina, I appreciate we got some churches and preachers. We've had a real rough neighborhood of folks selling drugs on the corner. So you know what they start? They start preaching on the corner. But what they didn't just bring preaching on the corner, what they also did was brought some cameras while they were preaching on the corner.
I love that. I love
but
it.
there comes a time that you got to stop looking at a person's color. Just because they look like us, y'all, don't mean they're us.
That's right.
Doesn't mean it at all. I tell people in a moment, if they really want to know, if they need to research even Obama's history, it's upsetting for black folks to really look at it. He belonged to a tribe that would not mingle with the black tribes of Africa. People need to know that.
Yeah.
People need to know that. They need to realize that this fellow is coming from a whole nother perspective. He was not raised in the black community. Different people in the black community got different backgrounds. I was raised up on a farm, out there. I was raised in a place before we had outhouse. We didn't even have no indoor toilets when I was coming up.
Same here.
Drawing water from the well. And everybody had a black experience. This fellow ain't had no black experience. He hasn't had one. And if his dad is who he says his dad is, his dad was not a former slave. Nor was his mother a former slave. So they have no empathy with the black community of this nation. And if you meet him in person, he'll tell you that to his face. Just get him when the camera's not around and see what he think about black folks.
That's a good point. Doctor, can you hold on for a minute, one more segment?
Oh, certainly.
Okay, hold on. 888-7753-773. Barack Hussein Obama. Back in a moment.
Don't really tell the whole truth. It don't show what's deep inside or read between. And I go back to a two-tone short bed Chevy, driving my first love out to the levee, living life with no sense of time. And I go back to the feel of a 50-yard line, a blanket, a girl, some raspberry wine, wishing time would stop right in its tracks.
Okay, my final segment with Dr. Johnny Hunter. Hollywood Update is coming up at the top of the hour with Kelly. We are here 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9 to noon Eastern time. Heard around the world, and I literally mean that, by everybody and their mama. And I do appreciate it. We're talking about abortion. Abortion is bad, period. But it's worse in the black community. And right now, folks, the blacks are about 13% of the population, maybe 12 now, maybe 11% with this abortion stuff going on and the black-on-black crime. Planned Parenthood is really taking us out. And it's unfortunate. And the NAACP and Urban League and Obama and the rest don't care. There's no value put on the life of black Americans. Dr. Johnny Hunter, the National Director of Life Education and Resource Network, has been on the front line of this issue for years. And I first became aware of Dr. Hunter almost 20-some years ago when I first started Bond. And we got involved and did some things with them as well. I mentioned earlier that in the black community, a lot of people don't know this, and I want you to really think about this. This is from blackgenocide.com. on an average, this is within the black community only. We're not talking about Hispanic babies or white babies or Chinese or any other races. On an average, 1,876 black babies are aborted every day, not every week, every month, every year, but every day in the United States of America. So today, before you go back to bed, those who are up already, the welfare folks are still sleeping, but for the normal people, before you go back to bed tonight, 1,876 black babies would have been aborted within the black mother's womb. That's from blackgenocide.org. Dr. Hunter, tell the folks your website and once again about this pro-life film, MAFA 21, that's going to be at UCLA on Thursday, January 31st.
Yes. And we're going to start it at 8 o'clock. And I tell you, it's a documentary. It is loaded with information, and it's very entertaining. In fact, it was selected to be shown twice at the Jubilee Film Festival in Selma, Alabama. When they were doing the Selma March for the Jubilee Film Festival, it was chosen 2 years in a row to be shown.
Wow. This is
up in Canada, in the film festival, it came in second place to Ben Stein's one of Ben Stein's movies about intelligence expel.
Oh, okay. Good. This is at USC, folks. I said UCLA, but it's at USC here in Los Angeles. Is it at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m.?
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
8 at night.
What's your website so folks can go there and take a look?
Okay, go to www.blackgenocide.org, and that's where the main things are going to be posted. We also have a national Black pro-life website out there too. Some things we haven't put on it just yet. We're waiting right until the end of this week to put things up. Okay. And the reason we're putting it up, we're waiting there. We want everybody to get over this inauguration today and all this stuff. You know. Yes. Good idea. What's that website? Yeah. Do you want to give that out at this point? Wait a minute. Yeah. The only thing it just escaped my mind just as I said it when I was talking to you about it. I understand that. But it's the National Black Pro-Life Coalition website. Oh, okay. If people just Google National Black Pro-Life Coalition, they'll get to see not only what Learn is up to, but what other blacks across this nation is up to. We'll do a link to it too, Doctor, from my website. That way folks can make sure that they get it. Okay, great. Now, for that website, it can be www.blackprolifecoalition.org. Okay. Blackprolifecoalition.org. Well, you already know this, but I appreciate you and your organization, what you're doing to educate the folks. The Bible says that our people suffer due to the lack of knowledge. And this is one area that all of Americans, but especially black Americans, need to be educated in. Yeah, well, I tell you, Jess, we appreciate you. Years ago, you spoke at one of our earlier conferences in Washington, D.C., and had the entire conference in tears. You not only talked about the failure of fathers, but you also talked about the mothers and men being able to forgive their mothers. Yeah. Because a black mother can be very dominating, and a lot of black young ladies don't realize, honey, you find a man that's going to take care of you. Find a man that can protect you. Find a man that got Hold on, Doctor. Hold on 1 minute. I'll let you finish that thought, and then we'll run. Back in a moment, folks. But then you see her leaving me. It's not what I prefer. So it's either here just drinking beer or home remembering her. Papa Top again. I think I'll have. Okay, I'm going to get to your calls in a minute. Let me just wind down with my friend Dr. Johnny Hunter from Learn, National Director of Life Education Resource Network. Dr. Hunter, I kept your finish the point about the family, because I don't think a lot of folks, and I know a lot of people do, but understand how important it is that men and women get married and raise their children. It's 100% crucial. And you got to understand something about Planned Parenthood. One of their agendas for reducing population was to promote homosexuality.
Yeah.
They came out in a memo called the Jaffrey Memo. And so when you see these organizations support homosexuality, they're really trying to keep men and women from coming together.
Yeah.
But I challenge the black sisters out there, be particular. Find a man that's willing to protect you. Find a man that'll work. Find a man that's going to be there for you and your child. And find a man who loves God.
Yeah.
I try to tell women, if a guy don't respect God, he sure won't respect you.
There you go.
But the sisters don't understand. There's some beautiful black sisters out there, and you don't have to just settle for anything. And you don't have to end up just with somebody going around calling somebody your dad is mama, your dad, your baby's dad, and all that stuff.
No, that's so crazy.
Yeah. And he already got somebody else. You don't have time for that.
That's right.
You don't have time for that. You're a child. In order to get off this plantation, and especially don't get caught up in this welfare, everything of it is amazing. Man, when I heard that brother talk about your book, Scam, it amazed me, because when you name all those folks that's involved in the scamming of the black community, once again, when Tanya Reeves, when they ripped a hole in that girl's uterus, let her bleed to death, bleeding for 5 hours before they even called the ambulance.
Yeah.
Jesse, none of them, you name them, not one of them said a word.
Yeah.
And that was right in Chicago, and right there where Jesse and them is, and they didn't say a word.
Jesse Jackson and none of those people. And I wasn't surprised either, because I look at the, right there in Chicago, black on black crime. Absolutely out of control. Over 500 murders last year in Chicago. There wasn't an outrage about that either. They really just don't care about their own people.
When I was coming up, there was a real bad thing. People think this kind of mess just happens down south, but it happens in other places too, and it's getting worse. When I was coming up on the country, if a black man was to kill a white man, it did less than 1 month, that guy had been executed.
Yes.
That was it.
Yep.
That was it. However, if a black guy killed another black guy, we had a guy who shot my cousin, everybody saw him shot it, they didn't even arrest him. They didn't even arrest him.
That's amazing.
There was no investigation, no trial, no nothing. And that was just sending a signal. You kill a black, you all right. I don't care even if you are black, And those kind of things going. That's why I say the NAACP and all these folks are right in bed with Planned Parenthood, and we cannot give them a break.
Is there something else? And this is my final question. Is there something else that's going on in the world where that is causing black people not to mean anything? Because all this stuff is happening. We're being used by the politicians, black politicians, and white liberals to gain power and wealth. Our babies are being murdered every day by way of abortion and black on black crime. Blacks are not all, but relying on government, and out of wedlock birth is through the roof. Is there like something else that is not seen? Because we're at a point where even the blacks don't care about the blacks when we refer to the NAACP and others. Is there something wrong with us?
Yeah, well, I tell you what's really happening. If people can just be aware of biblical history, whenever God was getting ready to do something great with a nation or getting ready to bring a deliverance for a people, the enemy would target the generation through whom that deliverance was coming. When it was time, the children of Israel had been slaves in Egypt all those years, and when it was time for God to raise up a deliverer, Pharaoh ordered all boy babies be put to death. When Jesus Christ came on the scene, the enemy went after children once again, and I am convinced Jesus Christ is going to return. Perhaps the enemy doesn't know how, who knows what he's up to, but I do know one thing. Within the black community is the salvation of this nation.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's the salvation of this nation. And what a whole lot of got the liberal whites out there, I call them leftist whites, they're trying to. They think they did away with that guilt by putting look, whether he looks black, he may not be black, but he looks black up in the white. That's their way of getting rid of guilt and everything else they're up to. But the real wake up call for us is that in the black community, we have. There's an old African proverb, Brother Jesse, that says, "No one knows whose womb holds the chief."
Yeah.
And I am convinced the enemy is going after that chief. And we as the black community, as a time, we've got to get educated, and they are doing their best to dumb our children down.
Yeah.
Putting Planned Parenthood in our schools to, quote, teach them safe sex and all that kind of mess. Believe me, young folks know how to have sex. I don't care whether you have somebody in there or not.
That's right.
And this mess that Planned Parenthood, they can't even give a child an aspirin. You can't even, they don't, the school will not take your child on a field trip without the parent's permission. However, they can take your child down to Planned Parenthood, get an abortion, and you don't know nothing about it.
It's mind blowing.
This is a well-designed, orchestrated scheme that is going down, and it's almost like a good TV commercial. If you watch it, it can persuade you to buy the product.
Yeah.
And folks, we are operating under a massive commercial that's going on. We got a media that's in love for some reason with the current president. And I tell you what, if there had been if a Republican president had done half of the stuff this fellow had done, he would have been out already.
Yep, absolutely. They do love him. They are not reporting what he's really all about. I've never seen anything like this before in the United States of America.
Yes, but I tell you what, it's time for us to stop giving the NAACP a pass.
Yes.
They can't have a free pass.
That's right.
And I tell you, so when we come to Los Angeles, we are going to make our presence known. You know, I understand the NAACP got a image awards coming up February the 1st. Brother Jesse, I think I plan to be there.
That's right. I love that.
But we need folks to be with us, and we really need. That's why I say we're going to do marathon on that night, because people need to see what it is that's going down, and they'll know what to do the next day.
Dr. Johnny Hunter, thank you so much for being with me, and I'll see you when you're in L.A.
Oh, God blesses you. The Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, has been a privilege to be on your program, and God blesses you and those who listen to your program.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day
Wake
now.
up time.
That's
All right.
Okay. All right, folks, back in a moment.